Hi, and welcome to the video walkthrough for your Piper Rose brand board. So what I'm going to do today is walk you through how you can use this brand board, how you can use it for keeping things organized, and how you can actually bring the designs that you've edited into this brand board. So the first thing to note is that this is what we call a brand board, and it has all of your assets, your brand visual assets, all neatly in one place. So um, anything that you change here about your logos will have to be applied to this brand board. And once you have this, it is a great document to use for things like photography. If you're having brand photos done, you send the photographer your brand board to make sure that he understands what colors to incorporate in your photo session, what style you're looking for. When you have these images as inspiration, when you plug your images in here, the photographer will get an idea, a sense of what your brand is about and what direction you want to head into with the photos. So this is such a great asset for things like that. But also, if you're going to hire a designer down the road, you're going to want to give them this board so that they know exactly what colors to use, exactly what your styles are, what patterns, what your fonts are. So instead of having to type out a lengthy email, you have this brand board document, and all you got to do is head over to download, print this in PDF print or a JPEG, and send it over to whoever needs to see it. It's also an amazing asset to have for your team. So if you're building out a real estate team, this is something that you definitely want to have as part of the welcome packet that you deliver to everyone so that they know exactly what your brand is about and how to move forward with the marketing. So that that part's out of the way. Now we can move on to how to actually edit this thing. So instead of coming here to every single piece and redoing what you've already done in your canvas, I suggest that you head over to your home page, and then here you're going to have your Piper Rose logo that you've already manipulated. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select one box and then hit shift on my keyboard and keep holding shift as I select every other element on the canvas. And then I'm going to right click and select copy and head back to the Piper Rose brand board. And I'm going to delete all of this stuff in here. I'm going to delete every box in here and then right click, or okay, the right click wasn't working. I don't know why, but you can hit Command V on your, V as in Victor, on your keyboard, and then just resize this down to fit in place. And when you're happy with where it is, you do that for every single element that you've changed, and then you just plug and play, you pop them in. If you've decided not to use submarks or you only have one, that's fine. You can actually ungroup everything, and then you can start deleting this line, for example, and move the submark over because you're only using one. You can play around with that, of course. Here is where you would change the color palette, and all you have to do is head over here and choose the color that you're using. You're gonna get a hex code. If you found your coloring online, you've used a color palette that you found online, most likely you've received a hex code with that. This number right here is a hex code, and you're just gonna plop that in. And then as soon as you have a new color, that hex code is going to be applied right here. So you do that for every single one, and then you're gonna write the number, the hex code, underneath the corresponding color so that your designer or anybody in the future can actually easily grab this color without having to guess. As for the pattern, if you've decided that you're going to use this optional pattern that was included, you can leave it here. If not, delete it. If you've created a new pattern that you're going to use or bought a pattern somewhere else, you can plop that in here. This is just to give, this pattern will not be something that your designer grabs to use. You're going to send them the pattern file, but this is just an overview to give an idea, to give a sense of what you have for your visual brand assets. And these icons, if you've decided to change the icon file, you would just update it here. So this is where you would update, if you've changed the color, if you've changed an icon, then you would just update that here. Typeface, if you've decided to change your fonts, this is where you would change that. And all you have to do is highlight the font and then choose the new one, and it will update everything. And then images, easy peasy. You head over to photos, you choose the images that match your brand style more. If you want new images, and you can just pop them in. You just hover it over the box until they pop into place. And then if you want to get creative and move it around in the box, you can double click and just move it around in the box that way. Okay. And then you're just going to put your website down here so people can find you. So if you do send it to a photographer, he knows where else to look to see other elements that you've included in your brand. And again, when you're done, you can just hit download and download this and keep it on file somewhere so that you can easily send it to anybody who has any questions about your brand. That's it for Piper Rose. Happy to...